Hi, it's me again. This time we're talking about the week ahead and some of the information that you're going to be reading this week. And especially what I want you to do this week is I want you to take the material you're reading and analyze a current event. And the current event, Congressman Weiner and the videos, the photographs that he sent out to young women, and all of the moral outrage about his photos that he sent out, and people calling for him to resign his political office. I want you to analyze that from the perspective of the information that you get in Love, Sex, and Tragedy. And I'm going to bring up a few of those issues so you can look at, that I want you to focus on as you're analyzing this perspective. Number one, when you discuss this on the discussion board, I'm going to make a place specifically for you to talk about this. When you're analyzing this on the discussion board, I don't want you to tell me what you think. And I mean this in the most respectful way possible. I don't care what you think. I want to know what would the classical Greeks think, and what is the public at large doing, and how is their view of this whole scenario rooted in that classical Greek understanding? What's the relationship here? So again, I don't want you to go on and say, well, from my perspective, what he did was terrible and I think he ought to resign. I'm not really interested in that. That's all over the place on the internet. I want you to analyze this from the perspective of the class. That's what I'm finding interesting. Now, with regard to the story, you can Google it, look it up on the Huffington Post, MSNBC.com, CNN.com. Fox News will have a plethora of information because Congressman Weiner was a Democrat. Look it up. You'll find information. Be careful if you don't want to look at any what we call lewd photos. They're out there now. Lots of photos that he sent out that he actually should not have been sending out. So let's see. What do I want you to do? I want you to look at this and I want you to think about a few things. First of all, I want you to go to pages 12 and 13 of your text, The Less Noble Sex, and look at that. And there it compares and contrasts two different photos of the same topic. It has to do with the story of Andromeda and Perseus. Perseus obviously is the one who rescues Andromeda. Andromeda's chained to the cliff, and the Kraken is coming out to attack her and destroy her. And she's being sacrificed because of some ill-chosen actions on the part of the city in which she lives. So they're sacrificing her to appease the gods. Perseus rescues her. Now, in the classical Greek painting, what you'll notice there is that Perseus is nude and Andromeda is clothed. Why is that? Because in classical Greece, you're going to find out there was an obligation for male citizens to show themselves nude, because you could read someone's virtue off of their naked body. If someone was heavy set, if they were slovenly, if they were flabby, you could read their virtue off their body. Yet if someone is toned and muscular, you can tell a lot about them by their body. I'd like to point out that we're not so far different from the Greeks. While we don't have the requirement for people to be publicly nude anymore, we still judge people and their character and the virtue of that character based upon how they keep up their body, the upkeep of their body. We tend to think that people who are overweight are lazy, they're not worth as much, that they're to be looked down upon, they're to be sneered upon. We look at people who work out and keep themselves in good shape as having higher virtue, that sort of thing. So I want you to look at it from that perspective. Classical painting, we've got that scenario. But when you look at the Renaissance painting of Andromeda and Perseus, there's a flip here. She's now naked and he is clothed. Why is he clothed? Because we use our clothing to display our place in the hierarchy. The clothing tells us of our station in life. You can look to see, do I have a little horse and a polo pony on my shirt? That will tell you about my station in life. Am I wearing like something that says Kmart across the label? That'll tell you about my station in life. He's clothed so that we can see the place that he occupies in society. She's naked this time because nudity expresses vulnerability. There's a misogyny that runs underneath both of these. There's a similarity between that lies underneath these, and that's the misogyny that undergirds both of these paintings. And yet there's something that's changed with regards to societal values about nudity. So I want you to consider that from the text when you're looking at Congressman Weiner and the photos he sent out. Also, in classical Greece, you're going to notice in the text, people very often had herms in their front yard. The herms were statues dedicated to the god Hermes that had an erect phallus on the front of them. And that phallus was an expression of power. It said, don't mess with it. Look at don't mess with this house. There's danger here. You will go down if you mess with this house. So the penis, in essence, is an expression of power that goes on. You're going to see statues in ancient Greece with regards to, in the text, of huge statues devoted to an erect penis and the testicles there, and what that signifies. And it signifies to a great extent the power that goes along with that. In our society, we aren't that fond of displaying erect penises in our front yard. But I don't know that the value's changed. Indeed, in our society, we've got this sort of notion that you don't talk about dangerous things because even to talk about it is to risk disaster. So, for example, don't say Voldemort, he who must not be named. Don't even say his name because he's so powerful it will destroy us to even say his name, to bring it into existence, to let him know we're here. Don't say the word. Also, Tennessee just passed a new law, or they're moving toward passing the law. It's called the Don't Say Gay law. And what it means is that below 8th grade, teachers or no one in school are allowed to say the word gay. Why? Because the word gay has tremendous power to destroy children worldwide. Don't say the word. Well, we have this similar sort of view, right? If you're looking at ratings for movies, you can show breasts, you can show naked women. But if you show an erect penis, that's got to be rated X because that can destroy civilization. The penis still has the power to bring down everything. How does that relate to Congressman Weiner's photo that he sent out? Is there any difference? If he would have sent a photo of his ear to someone, that would be no big deal. But the fact that he sent a photo of a different organ, what does that say about us? And that's the analysis I'm looking for. Also, you'll notice in the text, in classical Greece, there's a difference between active and passive. Men, by definition, are active. Women, by definition, are passive. Men are doers. Women are done. Men are the ones who desire. Women are desired. A man in ancient Greece would never wish to be desired. Let me revise that. A good man in ancient Greece would never wish to be desired. That makes you passive. A good man in ancient Greece would only be desiring. I think what you're going to find, one of the examples that it gives in the text, I should have marked this with regards to Plutarch. Plutarch has this nasty little story that he says he's being made fun of by his friends, and his friends are making fun of him because the girl that he's sleeping with, or the woman he's sleeping with, doesn't really care for him. Plutarch's response is, when I go to a restaurant, I eat fish. I don't care what the fish thinks of me. Oh, that's pretty graphic. What does it mean? How have things changed? How can we analyze this? That Congressman Weiner is sending photos of himself out as sort of objects of desire for someone else to look at. How does the moral outrage that everyone is expressing factor into this? Why does the photograph of that part of a man's body being sent to women outrage people such that they're demanding that he resigns? What does all this mean? You might also want to check what it says about the satyr and how the satyr, the goat-legged creature in Greek art, is typically shown with an erection. That's a moral story for young boys that says, don't let your body take control. Enjoy the readings this week. I'm going to make a place on the discussion board for you to talk about Congressman Weiner. All right? Have a great week.